Hi, I'm Simon. Thanks for tuning into The Ordinary Filmmaker. If you're new here, subscribe to receive notification of new videos like this one so you don't miss any news, rumors, tutorials, or camera reviews. And all the links to everything I talk about in this video, including gear discussed, as well as the Canon EOS R5 contest giveaway, can be found in the description down below, along with my affiliate links. And please, if you want to help support this channel, that's one great way of doing it. If you're outside of Canada, go ahead and I have links to B&H and Amazon, and anything you purchase there, I get about 2%, which goes back into supporting the channel. And if you're in Canada, give a serious look at Downtown Camera. Give Patrick a call. Patrick's great. He'll always give you a good deal. And he'll make sure you get the camera gear you're looking for. Like if you're looking for an R5, talk to Patrick and he'll make it happen. So today's topic is all about picture styles. And forgive me if I do say picture profiles throughout the video. That's just what I'm used to saying. But if you're going to be looking through the menus, what you're looking for is picture styles. So I'm going to cover off several styles, and these are the ones that I'm going to cover off in this video. I'm currently shooting with standard, then I'll get into fine detail, portrait, landscape, neutral, and faithful, and of course I'm going to ignore auto because, well, it's a combination of these depending on what the camera sees fit to give you on any given day. Now, in case you're trying to figure out where to go to find this information, well, go to the Canon menus, and it's actually under the first one, what I consider to be the camera book, and it's under the third chapter there, and you can see right down picture style, and this one's currently set to standard. Once you click on that, then you'll be given various options such as standard, portrait, and landscape, and Canon shows you how it set those up. So if you want to do your own custom one, you can. So let's talk a little bit about standard, because that's what I'm shooting right now. And by the way, this is, if you're trying to figure out what I've got hidden in the frame, nothing right now, and it's not going to be this, and it's not going to be my water. So don't be guessing those things. Standard, according to Canon, means that the image looks vivid, sharp, and crisp, and they consider it to be suitable for most scenes, and pretty much that's what I shoot most of the time with my run and gun. If you're doing family stuff, that works really, really well, but not ideal if you're going to be shooting or you want to be doing color grading and that sort of stuff later. Now, I have set up this scene in a way to help give you a good idea of what these different picture profiles look like. I am shooting 8-bit, I'm not shooting 10-bit, and I'm not shooting 4K HQ because it's really hot here, and this video is likely going to go some time. I also want to give you can see that I'm partially lit in the sun, partially lit in the shade, as is this entire scene. And I've got plants scattered throughout. I am shooting at f11, so most of it should be in focus. But I want to give you a dynamic scene so it's a little bit easier to see how these picture profiles change from one to the other. Now, let's flash up this definition board again. As you can see here, there's many different types of styles available to us, but you'll find that the difference between one or another may be very, very subtle, to the point where on your mobile phone, you're not going to see the difference. All right, let's go ahead and get into our next picture profile, portrait. With portrait, it's pretty similar to standard, but the difference is you see a bit of softening. So my skin tones, for example, and I know my head's not taking up the full frame here, and it's taking up a small portion of the frame, but you might see that the image is a little bit soft, and according to Canon's definition, portrait is for smooth skin tones with slightly less sharpness, suited for close-up portraits. Skin tones can be adjusted by changing the color tone. This is not really a close-up. I wouldn't consider this a close-up. Now, if I got a little closer, like this, that's not going to work. There we go. If I got a little closer like this and shot like this, maybe that would work, but the point is, if you're going to be doing a lot of close-ups, a lot of portraits with people, so if I cropped in quite a bit further here, then yes, this might be a profile that would work with me. But I'm also shooting outside. I got a lot of plants in focus, so there's probably other settings I'd want to adjust to take best advantage of this. I'd probably have a much more shallow depth of field to properly take advantage of this picture style. I keep wanting to say picture profile. So that's portraits. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next one, which is landscape. So let's go and take a look at landscape, right? So landscapes is for vivid blues and greens and very sharp and crisp images, effective for impressive landscapes. I'm obviously not an impressive landscape, but I do have a lot of greens in this background here. I've got a lot of plants, different types of plants. So this might look very good here. I think this might turn out quite well. How does it make me look, though? That's the question. Do I look any better or worse than in standard or in portrait? Let me know. But speaking of plants, I want to talk to you guys about a little story here. As some of you might know, I used to live in Takapuna, which is in the North Island of New Zealand, just outside of Auckland. I just turned 50, and it's been almost 40 years since I left New Zealand, and I miss that country a whole lot. I miss the landscapes, the climate, the beauty of the place, and the fact that no matter where you go, there seems to be food hanging off the trees or right in the ocean. You can pull pippies out of the sand or clams out of the sand. You can eat them raw, and I did that a lot. My parents would say, it's not time for dinner, so I'd run out to the garden. If there was fruit there, I'd grab it. If not, I'd go down to the beach and get some clams out of the sand. And it was terrific. It was like the wilderness was your environment, your kitchen, your grocery store. This tree here, this is actually a Feijoa tree. Now, I grew this last summer, and right around January, it was only this tall. So where you see it now, it's in a potted plant. I don't have it on a box. It actually is this tall. It's about 2 feet, 2.5 feet tall. From January onwards, it grew to this size here, and I do miss Feijoas. I haven't seen them since I left New Zealand. It's got a beautiful taste, and even the taste I'm beginning to forget now. It's been so long. And right behind me, that's a locust tree. Now in our garden, I was young at the time, so I'm probably picturing a huge maple, but it was a pretty big tree. I would say the size of like the maple I have in my backyard here, maybe about 20, 25 feet tall. And it had this yellow fruit called a locust. And if you didn't get it quite ripe, they were quite tart, but as soon as they ripened, oh, they were so sweet and juicy. And they had these huge pips in it that took up, I don't know, a good 70% of the actual fruit, but the outside was just so delicious, so sweet and juicy, and I miss that. So I'm hoping, I bring these inside in the wintertime, but I'm hoping that in a couple of years, they're going to start producing fruit for me. This guy here, the locust tree, it usually takes about a good 8 years, they say, before you start to see fruit. The Feijoa tree, I don't know. So if you're living in New Zealand right now and you're going, haha, I remember these, I eat these all the time, let me know. How soon can I expect to get some Feijoas to eat? Because I'd be super excited about that. I'm really looking forward to those. But I've rambled on a little bit too much. But I just want to give you guys an idea of what landscape is. And yeah, I just went a little bit down memory lane. New Zealand, if you haven't been to the country, you definitely want to go there. You definitely want to make it a 2 to 3 week trip. It's just gorgeous. It really is. I think it's got 11 of the world's 13 climates or something like that. Where else can you go? Skiing in the morning and then swimming in the ocean in the afternoon. You know, it's just an incredible place. Anyhow, let's get on to the next picture profile, and that's fine detail. Again, as for Canon, fine detail picture style is for detailed rendering of subject contours and subtle textures. The colors will be slightly vivid, but not as much as standard or landscape. So how do I look here? How does the landscape look? How does the overall look and feel of this one? I have looked at all of these because I've shot this video twice. Too many issues. The first time I forgot, I don't know what happened. I was playing around with the camera last night, and butterfingers, I set the ISO to, what was it? Set it to I think it was 400, so I was overexposed, went to reshoot it. I forgot to turn on the mic, and I thought I could do a better job, so I just went ahead and reshot it, and you've got a much more contrasty scene here. So how does it look? Do you notice a difference? I don't notice a huge difference with this one either myself. Again, I still kind of prefer standard, which is a bit more vivid. I also like landscapes, but if I'm going to do some color grading, and I'll get to that next, I would use neutral. But fine detail's not too bad. I think it looks pretty good, but it's probably not something I would leave the camera in. But if I did, I don't think I'd notice. I'd be too upset one way or the other. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at neutral, because this one is one of the most important ones in the camera, depending on your workflow. So let's go ahead and get into that one now. So here we are, we're in neutral. Now, before I give you my view, my take on where you should be using this, let's see what Canon has to say. Neutral picture style is for retouching later on a computer. Makes images subdued with lower contrast and natural color tones. If you're planning on doing any color grading, if you want to apply LUTs or do anything like that, if you're going to shoot in C-Log, you need to use neutral. If you don't shoot in neutral, you're going to find that you're going to have far fewer options, you're going to get frustrated, things aren't going to look as right, you're going to be following tutorials online and going, why doesn't this look right? It's because you didn't shoot neutral. So again, if you're going to do any color grading whatsoever, if you're going to be applying LUTs, if you're going to be shooting C-Log, you want to shoot neutral. And this goes with any camera too. You want to make sure you shoot in a neutral color tone. It's very, very important. But if you're not going to be doing a lot of color grading, and I don't mean maybe shifting the colors a little bit, making minor touches, but if you're going to be applying LUTs, if you're going to be shooting in C-Log, then yes, you have to have your camera in neutral or you're not going to be happy. Now, if you leave it in neutral and you bring it to the computer and you're a little bit disappointed, you're like, oh, this is not what I wanted, I was just playing around with my camera, you can bring back the colors, you can bring it back through changing exposure, through saturation, through colors, through the color wheels, or even by applying a LUT. And what I would recommend if you're shooting with a Canon EOS R5, shoot with the, what resolution LUT? Like a 17, not the 33, but a 17, and just apply C-Log 1. If you're watching this after Canon's applied C-Log 3, well then apply C-Log 3 and use the full frame one. All right, let's take a look at Faithful. So let's take a look at Canon's definition first, and then I'll tell you where I think it can be used. Words speak, me not. So according to Canon, faithful picture style is for retouching later on a computer. It faithfully reproduces the actual colors of subjects as measured in daylight with a color temperature of around 5200 Kelvin. Makes images subdued with lower contrast. And yes, it does, but not to the same level that you get with neutral. And actually, I think it looks pretty good. I think once you balance, I think you might be quite happy with this as a picture profile, something that's a little bit less exciting, a little bit less vibrant, a little bit less hyper. But again, if you want to apply LUTs later on, if you want to do shoot in C-Log, you're going to want to use neutral, because you're going to find that this profile, Faithful, is going to be, it's going to have a bit too much that it's not going to work with your LUTs as well. You really need to shoot with neutral if you're going to be playing around with LUTs or shooting in C-Log. But if you're just planning on maybe tweaking it a little bit once you get into post, then, you know, why not start off with Faithful, give it a try. And I recommend you try some of these yourself. Now, obviously, you get an idea of what I've shot, and you might think, yeah, I definitely don't want to try monochrome, or I'm not going to try auto, and I really don't like standard, or maybe you do. All right, so the last profile I want to get to is monochrome, and I wasn't going to test this one, and I didn't in the first view, but I'm curious to see what Canon does when it turns it to a monochrome. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one now. Wow, I feel like I should have a cigar in one hand and a glass of Courvoisier VSOP in the other hand. Feels very vintage just looking through the viewfinder. What do you guys think? Do you like this? How does it look? How's the dynamic range? Now keep in mind, I'm shooting this in 8-bit, not 10-bit. And I did that for a reason. I just want to keep trying different things and see how they look. Obviously, C-Log looks really, really good, but I think 8-bit for most ordinary filmmakers is going to work most of the time, and it's going to save you a ton of time in processing. And because I'm shooting so late in the day, I didn't want to take another 3 hours of processing and exporting before publishing this. I want you to play around, try it yourself, try different picture profiles. It depends on the setting and the scene as well. Now, I don't have a lot of color in this scene. There's a lot of greens. I don't have a lot of blues either. There might be a little bit right at the top there, but it's probably going to be blown out. I do have some reds here, but it's just, you know, it's middle of August here in Ontario, Canada. And right now, I don't have a lot of colorful flowers. I had a lot just a couple of weeks ago, and the spring was amazing. And I'm going into that next phase now. It's very hot. It's very dry, so there's not a lot of color. And because of the whole situation we had earlier this year, I didn't get as many flowers. So normally there'd be a lot more flowers in my backyard, and it would be a little bit more creative. So as we switch back to standard here, I've got some really amazing news for you. In the next couple of weeks, I think starting next Friday, I'm getting 2 lenses, the RF 15-35 and the RF 800mm. I'll get the 15-35 first. I'll have that for a week before I get the RF 800mm, and that's right around the time where I think we're expecting another full moon. So I'm really stoked about that. I'm super excited, and I want to say a special thanks to Patrick at Downtown Camera in Toronto. If you're in Canada and you're looking at buying camera gear, you're looking at buying lenses, accessories, whatever it is, give Patrick a call at Downtown Camera. Patrick has been incredible in supporting this channel. He made sure that I got the R5, one of the first in. Even though I called back in May He stayed on top of things, made sure I got it. I was there right when the doors opened, got my R5. And I said, look, you know, I'd really appreciate it if somehow you could get me any gear. I said this just a few days ago, and he asked what. I gave him a list of some things that I was looking at getting. And he emailed me this morning saying, Simon, yeah, come down. We'll give you the 15 to 35 and the 800 millimeter. But as I said earlier in the video, the affiliate links really help grow the channel. Amazon and B&H, what they do is they just provide me with funds, and I can use that to buy equipment. Downtown Camera doesn't give me any money, but giving me gear, and to me that's almost more valuable than money, because the cost of, if I had to go out and buy the 15 to 35, that's $3,000 Canadian, and the 800 millimeter, that's probably about $1,300 Canadian after taxes, and that's a lot of money. So by Patrick being able to get me these lenses means a whole lot to me. So if you love this channel, if you support this channel and you're from Canada, give Patrick a call at Downtown Camera. If you're looking for a good deal, if you don't see any sales, give Patrick a call. Patrick will make things happen, whether you're looking for bodies or lenses. But yeah, give him a shout out. Say, yeah, I'm calling you because I see that you're sponsoring The Ordinary Filmmaker, you're sponsoring Simon's channel, and let him know that it's coming from me, because I'm very humbled and very thankful to Patrick for helping me out on the channel here. This is really significant, and so I want him to see the love. I'd love to see him get some sales out of this, so we can continue growing the relationship, and I can get more equipment as it becomes available. All right, now for the next thing, and this isn't big news, but this is a huge lesson learned. This is part of my behind the scenes. I really screwed up today. I mean, I screwed up in a big way. Here it is. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I should have been finished, had this video published by around 10 o'clock this morning. I got out, I shot this morning, but I didn't bother to check my settings, figuring, well, I hadn't changed them. Well, last night, I was fiddling around with the camera. I was using Camera Connect again, and I was offloading photos onto the iPad using the Camera Connect application. I must have fiddled with ISO, because ISO was set to 400 and I was overexposed. So I was upset. I recomposed, set everything up, shot again. But do you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to turn on the microphone for the Tascam. And I was shot on the other side of the property, close to my neighbor who had her air conditioning on, and it was just terrible. I wanted to try and save it, but when I sat down, I cooled off, I re-looked over things, I thought, you know what? I can shoot this better. I can change the scene. You've seen a great change in contrast between the brightness or between highlights and shadows. When I started this video, my face was kind of half and half, and now I think it's mostly, the way it feels, I think it's mostly in the highlights. But the same with the setting. We've seen a great change between the highlights and the shadows. There is a lot of green, and I apologize I don't have other colors, that's why I'm wearing blue. Let me get comfortable here. I'm wearing blue. My red maple, not so red, it's a bit more of a greenish brown right now. Hey, this is my Feijoa tree. I've got some reds here, but I'm just trying to make this the best possible scene I can for these picture styles. So the lesson learned is, no matter how much you think you've got things set up properly, no matter how much you think you are a pro, oh, I've done this many times, I know what my settings are, check your settings, check your audio, check it again. After I did the first 2 picture profiles, I checked it again just to make sure I was recording. It was recording. So really frustrating. But thanks so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. Please use my affiliate links. Again, if you're in Canada, give Patrick at Downtown Camera a call. And if you'd like a chance to win the EOS R5, go ahead and subscribe. But did you find the item I had hidden in this video? It wasn't hidden throughout the entire video. It was only available, only visible for a short period of time. And as I mentioned earlier, it wasn't the mouse I was holding for my clicker, and it wasn't this here. This is my water. The chalice of light, as it's been called. I call it the chalice of light because, well, it looks like a lens, and a lens is all about focusing light, and a chalice, I thought, somebody called it that, and I thought, that's a good idea, call it the chalice of light. The other person called it an EF chalice, but I wanted to get a little bit more bold with it. But that's it for now, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.